like approach towards this product building side. Whatever you will listen to today is mostly from my background itself. Like when we were developing and when we were building, what are the actual challenges that we faced? It's completely based out of that. So everything here is an experience-based slides and description of what we went through. It might work for you and it might not even work for you. So everything is like it's up for you to grab. You can look at it as a thing that you can try out in your startup, or you can discard it. So let me start the session by telling something a bit different. Like, I don't know how many of you are from a background of engineering and trying to come up with a startup, or you're coming from another side where you don't have a tech background, but you're getting into agri-tech. So, what I would like to begin with is I would want to ask you, what is this? Have you seen this device before? Uh, and also, Sumant, is the chat available? Like,
Yes, it is. That is available.
okay, okay. So, can somebody take a wild guess on like what probably this could be? Anybody wants to give it a shot? Anyone? Okay. So this is actually a product built in the 1970s, which is the Apollo computer. So now the reason why I bring up this is that this is a marvelous engineering feat. Like if you think about it, this was one of those devices which put man on the moon. And I don't know if you know the story, but the actual story is that when the first time the Apollo 11 mission was conducted and when Neil Armstrong was supposed to land, this computer failed thrice. Like before the landing, it failed thrice. And then due to pure feat of engineering, it was able to survive and it was able to put man on the moon. And then also it helped in the return mission as well. Now, the reason why I bring this up is that uh, if you think about the specifications of the device, this is actually the specifications of the device. Now, just pay a look at it. And if you are from a tech background, these numbers are very, very bad. Like these numbers are like 1.024 megahertz. If you have used any sort of IoT devices, this is not even scratching the bare minimum which is required to run any product, right? So when you look at these kind of when you look at this kind of tech, now if you look at a phone, like the phone which you have with you right now, by comparison, this is how much better your phone is with respect to the device which put man on the moon, right? So the phone which is lying around, I'm pretty sure that all of you at least have 2 or 3 devices surrounding you, which is at least these many times more powerful than the thing which put man on the moon. But there's a big difference between pure feat of engineering and a product design. So that is the first thing that I think that we should take away, that if you're building a product, you have to be very, very careful. Now, the phone that you have, you usually use it for, let's say, taking a photo or anything else. Okay. Now, the product, which is your phone, the tech inside it is completely hidden. Nobody pays for actually the tech. You pay for what it can do for you. Yeah. You usually pay for the thing it solves and not only for the tech. So the way that I look at it is that there is two aspects. One is that what is the tech that is there inside the product? And the second is how do you convert it into, how do you convert that tech into a product? These are two very distinct ideas. So if you're building a product, which I learned the hard way, if your focus is only on the features and it is not about the problem that it solves, then mostly you'll end up in trouble, because it looks great on paper. It looks great for a funding. It looks great for, let's say, a research grant. But the moment you try to sell it to a customer doesn't care about what is the tech features of the product. It is mostly what is it trying to solve. That is the biggest element of any sort of product design. So let's say, for example, you are into agri-tech and you come up with, let's say, a data-driven solution towards some problem, some agricultural problem, then you'll always end up in a situation where you are not really developing the solution, but you are mostly interested in tech. So you have to be very careful about this, because as if you are coming from an engineering background or if you're coming from a tech background, you will be more into developing this kind of tech rather than the product itself. So there's a slight difference that you need to figure out for yourself when you come to a startup. The second thing is, now I'll just introduce like myself. Like, I'm Aditya, and I have been building a moisture meter and some other agri products as well. My job is mostly on developing from idea to POC to prototype to MVP. So that is where I have been working on for the last 5 to 6 years. I have been involved in more than 5 to 6 products, mostly at this stage. So my work is mostly that research to MVP stage ideation and things like that. So that is where the stock is coming from. And the product that I've designed is called as a Culti 7 moisture meter. This is specifically designed the cashew processing industry. I come from the South Central belt, so we have a lot of processing and one of the things that we have been focusing on trying to solve. This product is completely from an industry requirement. We came to know about this problem, and then over a period of 2 years, we reiterated on multiple different designs and worked with a lot of processing industry, a lot of traders, a lot of farmers, and then we were able to come up with a kind of a product. So this has been in the market from early 2021 to now. Most of the things that I will be telling you would be from the example of this. This is the agri product that I've designed. Yeah. Yeah. So throughout the story, I'll just throughout the this one, I'll just tell different parts of the build and how we came across multiple different things as well. Yeah. So okay, so this will be the general theme that we will be looking at today, because these are the things that I felt was important if you're developing any sort of a product. So the first one is called as in love with the problem, in love with the solution. So this is a typical problem that you will face if you are designing anything, like be it agri products or not non-agri products. You will try to fall into one of these buckets even if you don't want to. So I'll just discuss this. What is this in love with the problem, in love with the solution? So the first pattern is that let's say that you are a founder, and so I have been developing this cashew moisture meter. So if my moisture meter is able to, let's say, help some sort of a process, a supply chain management in the cashew processing industry, if I claim that that is the kind of problem that I'm solving, and I am over fixated on the problem rather than what aspect of the problem that I'm solving, then you are not going in the right direction. So when we started with the cashew problem, moisture meter problem, instead of focusing on developing a good moisture meter which solves the problem, there were a lot of times where we deviated off course, and mostly it became some sort of a supply chain management problem, which we were not able to solve. And that is not something that I'm good at also. So whenever you look at as a pattern, like the pattern that first you see is that falling in love with the problem so much that you don't know what your solution will actually try to solve. Instead of focusing on that, you will be so fixated and so like in love with the problem that you forget what part of the problem you will try to solve. That's one sort of a approach that we generally see, and that's one sort of a thing that I have been a victim of. The second part is that the second way that you go wrong is that you fall in love with your solution. This is completely coming from a side where working with a lot of academicians in ISC and places like that, I've seen that a lot of researchers, they have a solution in mind and they try to retrofit it into a problem. So usually if you have a solution and you are trying to retrofit into a problem, then you will also run into trouble, because mostly what will end up happening is that instead of finding the optimum solution, you are trying to just fit your solution there. It might be working great for grants and funds, but it will obviously backfire the moment you want to actually turn it into a customer facing product. So these are the two patterns that I generally see that I try to avoid. That is, I should not fall in love with the problem, and also I should not fall in with my solution. And the best way that I feel that you can actually do it, that is the same like the same problems that comes from problem side or the solution side. You can do that by staying close with the customer or getting close to the customer. Customer is the right person who will ensure that you don't fall in love with the problem or the solution. And this is the reality of almost all products. If you stay with the customer, you kind of get a feel of where you should be. So this is one of the lessons that I have got, that if I am constantly talking to the right customers, again, I'm repeating, it's the right customers and not just random customers, you will not fall into the trap of going in love with the solution or the problem, because you are trying to do something good and you are trying to get to the right solution. So that is one of the things. The second thing that I've realized, or something that I've come to realize over a bunch of years, is that uh, this idea of solving a problem coming from an early startup sect is that everybody that you talk to is in love with the problem that they're facing. So let's say, for example, when we were developing the moisture meter, I was constantly trying to talk to, let's say, a lot of processing industry. I was trying to talk with a lot of traders. I was trying to talk with a lot of farmers, and then some agri-scientists and things like that. And the one thing that you will always notice is that everybody will give you a lot of insight. They will tell you a lot about their problems. And initially, at least for the first 1.5 years, one thing that I thought I was doing is that I thought I was collecting requirements. So my basic intention was that the more the people that I talk to, more requirements I'm getting, and that will help me align my product better and better. But the reality is that if you talk to so many different people about their problems, uh, narrowing it down the feature list is your headache. If you are not able to do it, then you will be driving your product into multiple different angles. For example, see, when we were designing the moisture meter, we thought that we are designing it to uh, measure the moisture of, let's say, a raw cashew nut when the cashew nut is coming to the industry. And suddenly somebody says that we have a problem in between the processes. Somebody says that we have a problem in the trader union. Somebody says that in the farm we have a problem. If I try to address all the problem at the same time, I'm not solving any problem. So the kind of a thing that at least we tried to work on is asking these two questions to ourselves. That is, uh, what decisions am I taking, and who's the decision maker, and which decision of theirs am I changing? So let's say, for example, if the decision maker is not very relevant to your product, or he's not ready to pay for your product, and you are trying to solve his problem, I think you're doing the wrong thing. So let's say, for example, a farmer will say that this is what we need, but a farmer will not be able to afford your product. That time it's absolutely the wrong thing to try to fit his requirement to your product. Let's say a trader is saying something, but that is not fitting, he is not your potential customer. Then again, trying to include that feature saying that that trader might be my potential customer, it's not the right way to approach, let's say, a product design. So that is one more thing that we, at least I generally try to observe, is that is my product aligning with who is the decision maker? So if it is not a decision maker, then naturally he won't become my customer. This is kind of a problem that in agri-tech, I think many people will face. Uh, Most of your agri-tech solutions are not usually bought by your farmers. It is bought by some sort of a decision maker above that, some sort of customer, like let's say a trade union or something like that. So you have to be very clear who you are trying to sell and what sort of decisions that customer is going to do for you. So this is another thing probably you can have a look at. And this is something that a lot of years for me to realize that you have to find that decision maker who pays for the product. Not everybody becomes your customer just because he's interested in your product. So when I started, whatever I design right now, I kind of make it a point that am I looking at that person who's a decision maker? Yeah. So that is one more thing. And the other thing is that this is the difference between having a signal and a noise. So whenever you are coming up with a good idea and you talk to a lot of people, the filtering mechanism, what I use is this decision maker idea. You can come up with your own, but more important than that is that you have to figure out how to separate out the signal from the noise. If you're not able to separate out the signal from the noise, that essentially means that the noise will drive your product rather than the signal. So you have to at least I used to have a notebook where I used to write down. Even today I do that. Where if there is a potential idea that has to be validated, I talk to a bunch of people and I try to have a kind of a common theme, and that common theme becomes my features. Not everything what everybody says. So it's another way of looking at it as like. I also ensure that it is these decision makers are not the first people who are accessible to me. It is also the kind of people who I have to do a bit of research and get in contact with because they might be my potential customer. Yeah. So that is the first thing. I think that's one more thing that you have to look at is that how do you separate out the signal and noise when I would say validating your problem statement, because you have a hypothesis, you have a problem statement. Then when you talk to a lot of people, your hypothesis gets scattered around because you are listening to so much information. So if you want to actually validate the hypothesis well enough, figure out what is the signal that you're looking at. So make a constant effort towards this, and then your product will not be driven by the customer requirement, and it will be like not. I should not use that word driven, but it will not be like they are only taking the product. You have no ideation of the product itself. It should not go in that route. That means you'll be in very much trouble, and you'll never be able to build a generic product. You will always be scattering around, and when the second customer comes, you'll again like retrofit your solution to them. Third customer comes again, you will start retrofitting it to that solution, and that it goes nowhere. After 4 or 5 iterations of customers, you will start feeling tired because every time a new customer comes in, your product is starting to take different shapes. Yeah, so it costed me almost like 2 years because I did not follow this at the very beginning. We struggled because we were trying to go all over the place with different requirements. Yeah, yeah. Sorry.
No, please go ahead.
Yeah.
There's some background noise from the.
Okay. So the third thing that probably I could address is another thing which is a another product. It's not agri, but it is another product that I was deeply involved in, and it is a failed idea because we did not know what to do at the right time. So so the third thing that I want to talk about is everybody loved it, nobody bought it. So I'll just give you a basic idea of what I'm trying to talk about here. So this is like early 2022. We developed a. So this is not really my idea. I had a postdoc from IIC who had this idea of having a non-invasive monitoring system. So this is a millimeter wave radar. It will be able to detect people in the room, but it will not capture any image. So it was like a privacy-based monitoring system, which was able to say, what is happening inside the room without the signature of who is inside the room. So we wanted, what we were thinking is that we were brainstorming ideas like, can we use it for detecting fall inside washrooms? Like, let's say, for example, after post surgery, if somebody is going to a washroom, you want their privacy to be hidden, but at the same time, you also want, like, if something bad happens, something should be reported, right? This is also probably uh, a use case in geriatric or senior living citizens. So, senior citizens, if they are staying alone in their home and if they fall, is it can we do some sort of a non-invasive monitoring and try to see that they're safe and things like that? So when we designed this product, I would not say it's a product. When we designed the MVP of this, we were very confident because it was giving very good results. And because of the contacts that we had, we were able to have some sort of a deployment even in MS Ramaya Hospital in Bangalore. Everybody was really happy with what they were seeing. And because of that, we got some contacts of Association of Senior Living in India. So this is an organization which has all of these senior living citizens, like it's like a gated community. So a bunch of senior citizens stay in an apartment, and there is some sort of care also given to them. All these kind of things. And we thought that we had nailed the product because everybody was interested. Everybody was like, "Okay, we'll do it. It's a good product. It's giving us good demos and things like that." And suddenly, what we started noticing is that the moment we wanted to have paying customers, when we started saying that, okay, can we start deployment? Everybody started taking a step back. And we had by that time already spent almost like 4 to 5 months of our time trying to validate this idea. So at the end, one doctor came to us and she clearly bluntly told us that less than 2% of the falls are fatal. So there's no point of even installing this product. So this is another thing where we designed everything without actually talking to a customer, and we failed miserably at the end because our product was not solving any solution, any problem of the customer. It was just a good tech, which was good to see, but it was not really solving any problem. So one of my key understandings from that experience of spending like 6 months trying to work on it was that praise is not purchase. So many people will praise the idea that you have, but are they ready to purchase the idea that you have is a bigger question. So I think it has to be kind of clear to you as well that at the very early stage itself, can you separate out the praise and purchase? So if there is paying customers, you can easily scale it. But if everybody is just praising and nobody is buying, then you need to figure out how to work around that. So the truth of the matter is that we spent 4 months chasing these buyers because they said it was good. We had spent at least another 4 months building the early POCs and MVP state because people we felt were showing interest. And because of the time that we spent on this, we were not able to get the company from the ground up. So it failed miserably because we spent almost like 6 to 8 months just doing this. So if like when you get very serious about the idea, my way of looking at it is that just see that it's trace and there is actually purchase later on. Yeah, that's one more learning I think. Yeah, so that's one more learning where we felt that one was signal and noise, and the second was this where are they actually pricing or are they ready to purchase? So that is something that we also worked on later on. At least now uh, I at least think about it. Um, and this is another thing that actually helped me in the initial stages. When we were working on the moisture meter, um, we had very good 10 to 15 potential customers lined up at the very beginning of our early POCs itself. So what we had done is we had spoken to the industry well in advance. We were talking to a lot of these business owners, trying to get their insights into the product, as I said before. and we were trying to fit it into the product. What I mean by keep the pen in is that even though you're listening to their problems, please don't try to form the solution for every problem that they have. Like if you are trying to listen to 10 people and trying to include all the 10 talks into the feature of your product, you will be under huge trouble. So the way that I look at it, and this is actually from the conversations that we have had before. Um, so when I was talking to, let's say, a potential first customer, let's say it's a cashew processor, they would just ask me like, get it to the factory floor. We want 2 units. Let's check it out. So, so these are actually your first customers, like who are ready to take a gamble and who are willing to spend a bit of time. So this is something very important. At least for me, I was very lucky that I had my first few customers who were ready to give the time to understand our solution and also ready to spend time to explain what the problem was. So this plays a very important role according to me. uh, this is what I would say is a customer. Like this is a customer driven approach where the customer is giving you time and they are sitting with your solution and you are also able to understand their problem. The second type that usually comes to us is somebody like this. So let's say, for example, this is actually a real thing. So we were developing this moisture meter for all these different sort of nuts also at one point. And somebody came and asked us that we are building moisture sensors for animals. So can you somehow figure it out and let us know? This is a very dangerous segment to enter into. At that stage, when we did not have potential customers, we thought of taking such problems. But later on, I think all of us will start realizing that that's a trap. Like if you start taking up like adjacent streams, right? Like a bit of adjacent, then your product is not going to take shape. So this is kind of a learning that I want to have is that this is not a customer. Even though this looks very similar to a customer, this is not a customer because they are generally taking your product into a completely different dimension that you were not solving before. So be very careful. It's a very thin margin. Even though I can say that in my experience, what are these two things? When it comes to somebody else's problem, even I'll not be able to differentiate between who's the customer and who is doing this request kind of a thing, which where your product will start pivoting. So I think it's very important that you take up that call and you are very conscious about it also. Like who is your that customer who drives the product and who is this request based thing who is pushing you into an adjacent stream. Maybe at some point you might need it to pivot your product, but not every time because if you start gathering all the adjacent fields, you will probably not get to where you want to go to. So this is what I mean by the right customer. So if you don't get the right customer and you are around these people who are trying to divert your product into something else, please be a bit careful about it. Yeah, also, I just want to acknowledge that we had very good support at the very beginning, who were our first customers. So this is Mr. Pramod Kamath and the Bola factory owners as well. They played a very important role in first helping us design the product as well. So whatever you are trying to solve, I would say that please find these first few customers whose problem you're genuinely trying to solve from whatever fields that I have attempted. If you are genuinely trying to solve a problem, uh, potential customer will give you time. So it's just the approach and probably some 1 or 2 meetings where you get in good touch with them. And if you do that, they will criticize your product. They will tell you what is wrong. They will tell you to come back. They'll give you very harsh deadlines, but it's worth it. So this is what, at least for me, it was that these customers who were driving the product also were able to criticize it and they gave us space to come and explore. So please try to find such customers at the very nascent stage because it will help you out later on. And also another thing that I have realized is that this is coming from experience that listening is not the same as obeying. You need not incorporate every feature that your customer tells. You need to be very clear about it. They bring the problem, you have to give shape to its solution. If you are completely relying on them and trying to make everything, then it will not work out. then your product will go completely haywire. So listening is not obeying. So these potential customers, you should be able to have a very fair and meaningful discussion where you are able to drive the product in the right manner still. So that's one more thing. And this is purely for people who are coming from tech. So any product that you design as an engineer or as a developer, you would want to make the best gold standard product. That is the dream of every engineer. He will over engineer things to an extent where you will never be ready for the market. So when we were developing the moisture meter, one thing is that we were chasing accuracy, reliability, precision to an extent where we were completely going out of our way to engineer it. And then our customers had to say, this is enough, this is not going to add any more value to you. So at least in my case, there were people who came and told us that this is good enough for it to work. So this is something that I think takes a bit of experience, and also somebody from the customer side to tell you, hey, this is good enough. So if you over engineer and it's not solving any problem, nobody will buy it. So if it is generally enough to solve a problem, the customer will give you that flag, and then you're ready to go to the market. So this is one more thing. And we actually took these meters, we took it to the field, we showed some testing, and once we did that, the customers were kind of happy, and that is how I would approach it. So this is the way that I am thinking, at least. Uh, when is your product finished? Like, there is no endpoint for developing a product, right? You want to upscale, 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 upscale. Till what extent? When will that finish? To be said, as a entrepreneur, you will never be knowing when to draw the line. You'll simply be over engineering it. So does it provide solution to the customer whose problem you are trying to solve? If it does that, you're ready to go ahead. If it fails, you get a feedback and then you can reiterate. We have done that many times as well. But it's better to listen to active feedback and then try to reiterate than just go to meet some sort of a gold standards. So yeah, that's what I was trying to say. So just to sum it all up, I think I had like 5 takeaways from my journey so far. Like, stay close to the customer, don't fall in love with your problem or the solution. Then also, when you're talking to people, filter out who's the decision maker. Rest of it is complete noise. Don't listen to the praise of your product. Look at who is paying for it. Pick the customer who will walk with you. Like, you need good customers at the very initial stage to help you design your product. I don't see another way around it. And but keep the authority with you. And the last thing is that don't over engineer it, or don't over complicate your solution and try to add so many features that even the customer is not looking at it. So I think those are the 5 takeaways that I have had. Yeah, so that's from my side. If you have some questions, I can answer those.
Thank you, Aditya, for the wonderful session. I open the floor for asking the questions. Feel free to ask the question in the chat room as well. To start with, I will only ask you a question. When was it that you found this idea? How you found this problem? Customers communicated it is yes, but who facilitated the that communication?
As much as I remember, like, this was just before COVID, I think. Uh, we I don't remember exactly where it was, but I am assuming that we were in K-Tech back then, like K-Tech Mangalore. There was a talk in which Prakash Kalbavi, he is actually one of the bigger players in the cashew industry. He came across and told us that that there is a problem statement like this. We did not take it up seriously, but then slowly it started evolving, because we started going to this industry looking for problem statements, and that is when it became a bit more concrete. But we had to go and talk to a few people to realize that this is an actual problem. So at least at that stage, I made an attempt to go and visit these industries and talk to these business owners and see that where is a gap that we could fill.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just to give an idea on the scale of the product, I mean, what is the status of the product right now? Can give that idea. People can understand what you have built and what is the potential you have explored and what it is doing right now.
Yeah, so we started back in 2021, I think, to sell the product. At least for a year, it was mostly with the customers that we had known to develop it. Nowadays, the product is in sales in most parts of India. Like we give it to almost every state industries. All the Mangalore Belt region, or most of the processing industry use our moisture meter. Also, other than that, every year, I think half of our sales also goes to Africa because that is where the raw cashew nut for India comes from. So most of the traders, most of the processors also take a bunch of, let's say, 3 to 4 meters every time that they visit Africa, and that is majorly where the sales are coming from. But it took a bit of trust scaling as well. Initially, I think in the first few years, we were making around 50 devices a year. Last season, we have almost hit 100 devices per season. So we have a short window of like 4 to 5 months where this trade happens. So that's the slot at which we work.
I ask this because uh, you understood the problem, you understood the scale, and optimized how to manufacture it and sell it, and everything you managed on that scale. And you
Yeah,
are selling it at a very good margin as well. That's what
yeah,
I wanted to say. Can you
yeah,
share a bit on how you are manufacturing and all those things as well?
yeah.
Because people might think you are injection molding the components or how you are
Oh,
manufacturing.
yeah, so this is one thing that I think I've realized is that if it provides a value to people, people don't think a lot about how aesthetically good it is. So initially, when we started developing it, one of the thoughts that was constantly put to at least our head is that design it using injection molding, ensure that the part is like properly injected, molded, and things like that. But the reality of the thing is that if it solves a problem, even a 3D printed solution still works. We are in the market for the last 5 years. We have never gone away from 3D printing. It still works on 3D printing. Yes, there are damages, there are problems. We service it and give it. But uh, if it solves a problem, 90% of the time, I have seen that people don't care about aesthetics. So please, at the very initial stage, don't go full fledged on aesthetics and not what you're trying to solve. That I don't think is the right approach. Maybe for some products it might be, but at least for not a B2B service where you're trying to solve somebody's problem. So and also the manufacturing part of the problem. So the way that I initially, from the very initial that way I've set up is that I have a routing chain for different parts to be aggregated. I have multiple vendors who are able to supply different parts. So only the IP of it, we try to keep it on our own. Most of the time, because this is like a varying product season, we kind of have a vendor management system who gives us the right product and right pieces at that time so that we can have an assembling system in Bangalore. So but other than that, it's just about the vendor management. And also, none of the things in our product is from a different country. Like it's all Indian itself. Uh, so I would say that if you figure out the chain yourself, it will take some time, but at least it works for me. Like I've done this for so many products, so I kind of have an idea of how to do this vendor management chain. But I don't think it will work for everyone. That's also another thing that I'm saying, because if you're working on a specific product, it might become a bit difficult to have this vendor chain.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi, I have a question.
Yes.
So this is Ajit. I am a co-founder at Tiny Prism Labs.
Okay.
So the question is, say suppose like you are selecting a product or you are working on an idea. So most of the research says that you need to do a market survey to really know that is this the product feasible or viable to start a business with. So how did you plan that?
Yeah, that's the most important part, right? Like when you are talking right from the beginning to a customer, you kind of get a pulse of what the market is. Where it's not a closed source thing where you are agnostic to the customer and you are building. So when you do this market survey, I understand the other models where you go out and just talk to the customer, but picking the features from the customer, I think, is an important role in whatever you are trying to design. So if you have, let's say, a good base of customers that you can talk to at the very beginning, I think the market survey happens then and there itself. So I think it's about the scale of the problem as well. Like if you're trying to sell something in millions, then I don't know what is the scale at which you have to do the markets. But if you're trying to sell it in thousands or 10,000s, then I think talking to a few people and connecting through a network usually plays a very important role. So you need to make time for it, but that's something that at least at the very beginning, me and my co-founders, we did that a lot. We made a point of talking to a lot of customers and trying to get that information in.
Okay, like how was your journey? Like I understood the aspects, but I just wanted to understand how much time it took for you to do a market survey, what and all you guys tried.
It takes a lot of time. So as I said, that signal to noise phenomena, right? That is very important. Like, because let's say, for example, you go and visit a customer, uh, they will very, like, let's say you have a 2 hour conversation, probably 5 minutes or 10 minutes in that is important to you. Other than that, they'll just be speaking about the problem that they are facing. So it takes a lot of time. That's what I've realized. We made of like before we started off the idea, I think we spent almost like 7 to 8 months doing this on an ad hoc basis because we were working on a different product at that time. So between that, in a week, a particular time, like a few days at least, we used to keep for all of these uh, customer market ideas and all. So there was a good amount of time spent on it before we actually got into the design.
Okay.
Remember, we were we had 3D printed few of the components earlier for Aditya's parts, and he was every time we were meeting, he was mentioning that they were meeting this industrially, and they are communicating with certain universities with some scientists on the same subject, and somebody who has built on done something on the same Marshall meter, and also the association. So they have spoken to so many verticals of customers as well, and all the people, stakeholders as well, like the scientists, researchers, universities, association, industries, everything. Isn't it?
Yeah. It generally takes a good amount of time, but if you don't do that, then you don't know where to place the product at the end. That was one of the failures that we have had on a previous product. So that was kind of ingrained to us before we started building this moisture meter.
So yeah, so you're saying like roughly it will take like 8 months of good study before taking up as such.
Yes, because or else you are just listening to so many noise, you'll not know what should be the
Oh,
feature of.
got it. Thank you.
There are two questions in the chat. They are asking, what is the advice you will give for a college student who wants to build something, and what is the suggestion you can give for a beginner who wants to start something in agricultural?
I would say that first and foremost, it depends upon the background that you come from. At least the background that I come from is tech. So when I look at an agri problem at the very beginning, when I was like just person who was starting out, you feel that you can solve every problem. But the more that you spend time on the field, when you talk to these people and try to aggregate all these features, all the problem statement, then you will be able to probably find a trend. That finding the trend is the most important aspect, I feel. Like you talk to, let's say, 100 people and you find a trend, then probably there is a potential problem that you can solve. Uh, don't listen to the person nearest to you. Uh, like talk to the relevant people. That is something that takes a lot of effort. Like you should go out of your way talking to a lot of people and gathering information so that you can do some sort of a trend analysis and then probably look that, okay, this is a problem that I might want to solve. If you really go in the lines of that, the first person you hear, you convert that into a prototype, you are wasting time. I think more than me, Suman can explain this idea that if you listen to one person and design, I think he would know so many people who would have come to him listening to one person and trying to design something. That doesn't work. Yeah. Any advice to the college student? I might come from a different angle, but for a college student, I would say that uh, this is my take. Like, don't think that you will be developing a product at college level. Explore as many things as possible, because if you fail in multiple things, I think then you can probably look at a product design. Failure is the best learning for a product design, according to me. Yeah. Anything else?
Meanwhile, I have shared few links in the chat. See, at Stelna Designs, we have been working with many clients to build their hardware products in the field of agri-tech, special purpose machineries, EV, medtech, etc. Let's designing one component or the whole device or the machine as well. And we follow a simple product readiness checklist tool which we have built, which we give to customer to self-assess to find the readiness, technical functionality, non-functional features, manufacturing readiness, knowledge readiness, and everything. So I have shared the link in the chat. If you have any idea or want to explore something, you can use that tool as a reference to find out the readiness. And also we have another tool is spare.ua, which has a component search in it. If you have any idea, you can search for the components in that device or machine domain and find the similar designs in that. It can give you certain idea on design and functionality decisions. This we designed for majorly helping our customers to find spare parts for their product. And also I've shared our LinkedIn page. Please subscribe it, follow it for getting the future updates. With that, thank you so much, Aditya. I think all the questions are also done. And it was a very practical session, I would say. And we have been discussing it regularly over our call, and I wanted you to communicate this as well. So thank you so much again. And we'll be sharing this recording session again to all the participants, and we'll be uploading it on the YouTube as well. So I thank everybody, all the participants as well, for participating and being in the webinar until the end. Thank you so much, everyone. Please feel free to share your feedback as well. Thanks so much. With this, we will conclude the webinar. Thank you.